welcome or welcome back to Nikki's Dancing Knits. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and welcome back to myself because this is only my second episode, but it's been a while since the first one, so I told myself I would only do it again if I enjoyed it or if I had something I wanted to share, and today I do. So here we go. I am sitting in a swivel chair, so I might have to change that if I keep on fidgeting around throughout the episode. But anyway, you can find me on Instagram at nickis.dancing.knits or on Ravelry. Also, I think if you search the same thing. But yeah, let's just jump right into it, or jete right into it. We'll start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing my finished Camisole number 4. This is by My Favorite Things Knitwear. The yarn is from Anzula Luxury Fibers, and the colorway is Teddy on their, let me see, I wrote it down, Vera Sport base. I only had one skein, and so this is how far I got. It's a little bit cropped for me. I believe I knit the 4th size, and I had to modify it. I didn't exactly swatch for it like I know you're supposed to. And the top part is fine, but kind of when I was adding the back pieces, it was way too long and it was like huge on me. So I did just take out like a certain number of repeats. I think I went down like 30 or 40% of the stitches overall I was supposed to have. It might have been my yarn base because it is a blend of I think linen and cotton. Let me look at the tag. Let me not just make stuff up. Let's see. Here it is. Silk and linen. 65% silk and 35% linen. I can't get that to read. But anyway, I really like it. I do have to like keep on like making sure it doesn't kind of just sit like this. I have to sit with good posture because otherwise I get lines right there. I also modified the pattern a little bit. I don't know if you can tell. I didn't do the back triangle pieces. I just added that back piece flat across, both to save yarn and also just because I don't like making the little triangles. I think they're fiddly. And I like the look. I have a couple like pajama tank tops that are just flat across the back, and I really like the look of it. So I'm happy with it. I came out with like only a couple grams left. So I think I did find off at the correct row. So it is shorter than I would intend it to be, but I would definitely knit this again. Also, this is kind of like Barbie inspired episode, and you know, the knitting page is doing her Summer of POP, Pop of Pink, for the Barbie movie inspired, and also just kind of the trend going on right now. So I don't know if you would call this, it has darker pinks and lighter pinks in it. And fun fact, the necklace I'm wearing, it's kind of like a recreation of the necklace from Barbie Nutcracker, the original Barbie movie, which I watched all the time growing up. It's what inspired me to want to take dance lessons and become a dancer. A very expensive movie for my parents. And my husband got me this for either, I'm not sure, my birthday or Christmas or something. And what was also fun about this necklace is that last year we did every year we do the Nutcracker at the studio that I teach at, and my husband and myself were portraying Clara's parents in the ballet. And so on stage, my director, she wanted him to give me a gift at like the end of the party as all our guests are leaving, and kind of to fill in some music space. So he gave me this necklace on stage in the Nutcracker, which is from Barbie Nutcracker. And so everything all together. It just makes me happy. So I did wear this to the Barbie movie on the premiere day. I might put in some pictures here. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I'm wearing. And yeah, that's where we are. Other finished objects. This one I'm well, it's not finished, but the knitting is finished. And I haven't even showed it to you yet because it's been so long. So this, see, it's my end. This is the Felix Cardigan by, I believe it's Amy Christoffers. I'd have to double check. But I've heard Taylor from Wool Needles Hands say it so many times that I just wrote it down, and I hope that's correct. I knit the 4th size in this one also. Instead of using a mohair, I did an Aran weight yarn as the pattern suggested. And I used Drops Alaska. And it's an Aran weight yarn, and the color is 63 or Pearl Gray. So I believe, I don't know how many balls I used. I know it was 2 balls or 100 grams per arm. I only had a little bit left after each arm. And I did the arm decreases exactly as in the pattern. And it was, I'm gonna say 200 grams or 250 for the body. I'm not sure. So what happened with this one is when it came to me, I ordered it online from, like, you know, the cheapest place you can get drops, and it kind of smelled funny when it got here, the yarn, and I was super disappointed. So, but I didn't want to like it was already like $30 to $50. I didn't want to like send it back. I tried emailing them, I didn't get any response. So I was like, well, I will just wash it. So I did wash it. I turned it into not skeins, but whatever you call the hank, the big loop of yarn on my Swift, and that took like an hour. And then I washed it, and then I put it in a vinegar bath. But the problem is when I turned it into those loops, I used scrap yarns to tie in the 3 spots so as to not get tangled. But on one piece, which had 3 balls in it, so it was like 150 grams, I used a red piece of hand-dyed yarn, which I know you shouldn't do. But I wasn't really thinking, and it was the ball that had it was the hank that had a ball that had like 3 broken and tied together pieces in it. So I was like, ooh, I want to remember this is the one I want to use last. So when I did that, I was like, I'll use the red, that means use it last. But it also meant I got red splotches on those 2 spots where I used the red yarn to tie it together. And I tried cleaning it out. I tried bleaching it even and using the OxyClean stain remover, but I had like put it in the vinegar, and so that just set the dye. so that was wasted. So I had to buy some more anyway, but it wasn't the full thing. I think I just bought 5 or 6 more balls, and I have a few of them left. So in total, I want to say it took me 7 or 8 balls of yarn. So anyway, I'll put it on and show you. It is not blocked, the ends are not woven in, and the buttons I ordered, they actually didn't have them in stock, so they refunded me, and I don't have those yet, but the next thing I'm going to do is definitely block this. So I already put in the places where I went to put the buttons, the buttonholes. Let me stand up to show you. I like it. I think it fits really well. I'm happy with the size. I'm happy with the length. The amount of ease, I think, is what they called for, to be honest. I wasn't super particular on that anyway. But I really like how the raglan increases are with those yarn overs. I'm sure you've heard about this pattern before, but I would definitely recommend it. It was a super fast knit because it is Aran weight. One thing is when I picked up for the button band, I did somehow like pick up closer to the edge in this section. So when I block it, that might actually be more visible. But oh well, it's a hand knit garment, and I figure if I button it, it would be on that part right there and you wouldn't really tell. But anyway, I've been calling this my Europe cardigan because I'm going to Europe in a few weeks, and everyone and their mother's gone to Europe, but I haven't been yet, so I'm very excited. I have not taken vacation yet this year, so we can go for a few weeks. And I've just been imagining wearing this all over Europe, where it's actually cold in the fall, and it makes me happy because I live in the desert and it's really hot right now. Today is actually, when I came home in the early afternoon, it was not yet 100 degrees. So very good day here in Central California. So there's that. So I'll have to show you when it's all blocked and finished, but the knitting is done. Sorry, I'm putting down on the piano. My husband and I just got a keyboard. Oops, sorry. And I'm super happy with it, and I love, we've had a couple of jam sessions since we bought it a week ago, so I love it. I haven't been able to play in a little bit, and I don't know chords. My husband knows how to do chords and things. I can't sight read. I have to like concentrate really hard and like memorize one piece. So I know like 3 pieces really well, and that's about it until I put my mind to the next one. But it's fun. I have played those songs that I knew previously in the past few years since we got the piano, so I like it. Anyway, next, I did want to show you that I completed these Capetown socks. The colorway, the yarn is Cashmere and Coconuts from Etsy in the colorway Capetown. It's on their Diamond Socks 70/20 with 5% stellina in it. And I was experimenting with these. Usually I do a 64 stitch count, but I tried a 60. It's a little bit tight over the heel turn area for me, but I'm wondering, and it's more obvious with the stellina in it, which doesn't stretch like the rest of the sock. So we'll have to see. I should have maybe tried experimenting with a non-stellina sock, but I think they're fun and they're not too tight. They just like look a little stretched out in that area. So we'll see. I haven't worn them yet because it's so hot here. But anyways, since we're on socks, let me show you. I did have one other pair of socks I finished. They were in a Van Gogh yarn, Van Gogh inspired yarn. I'll have to link it down below what the yarn is, my Ravelry page. I gifted those to my husband, and I think he's wearing them today. But he likes those, and he's an artist, so it's kind of fun. So that was part of Sock Week. For Sock Week, this is from Knitty Natty here on YouTube in her Love and Stitches podcast. She does a yearly summer sock, not summer sock camp. She does the Sock Week, and I participated this year, and I got a lot done. I had already started those socks, so what I did is I started on that Sunday with in the middle of the sock, right after I picked up all the gusset stitches. So I did the foot of that sock, and then I did the leg of the second one, and then that counted as one. And then towards the end of the week, that was like Friday, my husband and our friends, we went on a weekend trip up to the Bay Area to go to, it was called Open Sauce, which is a, I don't know, a maker event. It was the first one, kind of a convention where they had like robots and different like creative YouTubers, like Mark Rober was there, Jax Films was there. I don't know, those were the ones that I knew. And you know, they had all these cool displays that people brought and things that they like, cool different ways of cameras, this guy from NASA was there. We talked to him for a long time, and he's like making sure that little flying space debris that's like can be as small as, you know, very small in diameter, and he makes sure that they don't hit the International Space Station. So that was cool to talk to him about. I love learning about space. Yeah, so it was just a fun time with our friends, and the whole time we were there, I was knitting on those socks because I was like, it is the last weekend before sock week's over. Last year I did 2 socks, so I wanted to do that again. So I had done 1 from the Friday, and then Saturday I started these. And so basically I did like 2.5 socks during sock week. And I managed to finish these by the Monday afterwards. So not all 3 of the socks I did that week didn't count towards sock week, but I did 2.5. So I still think that's better than last year. But they're very purple. This is yarn from Evergreen Yarn Studio. They're on Etsy as well. The colorway is Purple Mountain Majesty. Isn't that beautiful? I love how it pulled. So fun. So this one has a little bit shorter leg. I was on a deadline, so it's about, I think it's a 40 round leg with a 15 round cuff and 2x2 rib. The foot is, I believe, 50 rounds after the gusset decrease. Have to double check. I'll link the Ravelry page. But these are a little bit smaller than this, my size. I do usually 60 for the foot and also 60 for the leg. These are for my friend Michaela. When we're in Europe, we're going to visit my friends Derek and Michaela. They moved there to Norway to be missionaries. So I get to see my friends, and I'm gifting them socks. So finish her socks, and I'll show you in the whips section her husband Derek's socks. But these were so fun. I loved knitting in public, and it sparked conversations when I was at the event. So all in all, it was a very productive, fun weekend. That was beginning of July. Good. So I think those are all my finished objects. So let's move into the whips section of the podcast. I do want to show you my Cargill sweater. I haven't worked on this in a while, but I did work on it since my last podcast, so I did want to show you. Yay! So I finished the first sleeve to, I can't remember where I was last time. I finished this first sleeve up until before the cuff. And then the second one, I think I have 10 more pattern repeats before the, or it might even be less than that. A few more pattern repeats before the cuff. I didn't want to finish the cuff on this one because this is how much yarn I had left on that 100 gram skein. And so what I did was, I didn't think I would have enough yarn left. I had 5 balls, and I think I used one, I used 1 per arm, so that's 1, 2, and then the body, so far I think I have 2 already, or I think 2. This is a yarn guzzler for sure. So I knew I didn't have enough with 5 skeins to do the body, unless I want to just basically only a little bit longer than this, and all the finishing. So I bought a 6 skein. I bought it from the same store that I had originally bought it from. I did that in person. It's my grandma's local yarn store in Minnesota. It's called Darn It Anyway. So I bought it from the same place in hopes that it might be the same yarn. And it's funny, it's La Bien Aimee, Corrie worsted, and the color lichen. And but I figured even if it's not the same dye lot, I can use it on the all the ribbing. So on the collar and the cuffs and the bottom ribbing. So that way, even if it's a little bit different shade, it doesn't matter. So that's why I haven't finished the ends yet. And I think that will help me get it to be a little bit longer and actually be a length that I enjoy. So I'm liking it, but it's just been so hot here this summer, and I've had distractions of things I want to complete before I go on vacation. So I haven't gotten, oh yeah, it's less than, I think I only have like 3 left. They're very similar lengths there. I should just do it, huh? So this has been on hold. Oh, pattern is by Rebecca of the Creabea. I'm sure you've heard of her. If you haven't, please go check her out, because look at that. Beautiful. So I'm really excited to have this as a finished object. It's just taking a little bit longer, but I super enjoy it every time I pick it up. And my project bag is just really pretty. It's the same color. It's my favorite color. Tote from my friend Rebecca. I don't know where she got it from, but it says choose Grace. Okay, so those are my bigger whips. I also just started, speaking of my friend Rebecca, I just started a baby blanket for her. She's having her first baby. I'm so excited for her. I told her, I'm making you a blanket, please. Like, if you tell me the colors of the nursery. She doesn't want to find out, or at least right now she doesn't, so we don't know the gender. And I did originally buy just this Bernat softee baby. I was gonna do some just generic thing. I couldn't commit to like a color that wasn't just like a nice, this is color antique. It's like yellowy white. I thought it'd be really nice and soft, and I was just gonna do like a simple pattern that's repeating like a shell stitch or something. But then a few days later, after I bought that yarn, she did text me, and she sent me a picture from Pinterest. It was not the link, it was just the picture of a baby blanket that she really liked. So I was like, yes, I will make that for you, thank you. And I went and reverse Google image searched it, and I found it. So the pattern is the Crochet Daisy Granny Square Blanket, and let me show you. Here's my first square. Isn't that pretty? Again, it's my favorite color, so I was more than happy to knit it for her. So that's the first one I made. Now the pattern says to make 42, and it is the correct gauge. I used, let me see, a USG 4.25 millimeter hook. You don't need to see that, to make this smaller one, but it's said to make 42. I was like, ooh, I don't want to seam together 42. And I have plenty of the antique yarn, and so I was like, I really want to make larger. So I did try, let me get this end out of here, a bigger square, doubling all the yarns. So the other yarns, this is Lion Brand Skein Tones in Nutmeg, and that's the antique Karen Softee Baby, and then this is, or sorry, Bernat Softee Baby, and this is Karen Simply Soft in Woodland Heather. So to compare the two, I believe this one is like 4.5 inches square, and this one's like 6. And I'd have to only make probably 20 of this one, so less than half as many squares. It is a little bit stiff, the fabric. On that one I used a 6.5 millimeter hook, and so for when I actually make the blanket, I'm gonna use a 7 to see if I can get it with a little bit better drape. And this one has a okay drape. Crochet doesn't drape as much, but it'll definitely soften up with washing. So I'm gonna go with the bigger size. It'll probably end up even a little bit bigger than this, but that's fine. I think I'll still do the 20 squares and seam them together. It's a free pattern. I'll link it below. Pattern, let me see what her name is. Should have looked this up earlier. Sorry if you can hear me clicking. It's from acraftyconcept.com. I'm not sure what this woman's name is. She doesn't say. So there is an ad-free version that you can purchase, but I'm just on the website with ads. Anyway, there's a ton of pictures in there. There's a video tutorial, super easy. I just use the words and there's pictures in there too, but I love it. If you are not afraid of seaming granny squares, I highly recommend. So that will go to my friend. She's not due for many months, but I was excited, and so I did start on that. Good, and then the next thing I have is the sock for my friend Derek, Michaela's husband. So it's a half-finished object. It's a 3x1 rib sock. I did a cuff that was 2x2, and then I just switched to a 3x1 for the rest of the sock. No pattern. I was inspired by Bethany of Well Loved Knits. She had, I think it was a DK sock, basically just 3x1 rib. I'm not sure if it was 3x1, but it looked like this, and so that's what I did. I really love it. It's Patton's Croix sock in color like flax. And it kind of was already felting just in my hands making it. Maybe it's too hot here to knit a wool sock, but this is stitch markers I use. But I don't know, but it's not as thick as other Patton's Croix sock that I've used. So it wasn't an unenjoyable knitting experience. So I really like it, and my husband was jealous. He really likes the classic look of these socks and like the simple color. I haven't knit him anything a solid color, so I will probably be going back to Joann's to pick up 2 more skeins of this so I can make it again for my husband sometime. But yeah, so I have that, and the second sock is on the leg, I think 20, 30, 40, 2/3 of the leg done, and I just do that in the car on my 10-minute breaks twice a day in the afternoon if I have time. Yeah, that's that. One more whip that I have. This is for the Knitting Pages Summer of POP Knit Along, and it's not what you think. This is not petite knit pattern. It basically is. This is The Simple Thing by Melina Brell. I hope I'm saying that right. And yeah, it's a Sophie scarf, but not. I am going to rip back because, you know, I wanted to support smaller makers and designers. It's not like I don't have any petite knit patterns, but I did want to support, for something so simple, I did want to support a smaller maker. And wow, I haven't been saying my needle sizes for anything, but I just use the sizes recommended in the patterns. So there you go. But these right here are the 4.5 millimeter needle. I'm going to rip back though, because the rate of increase is different than the petite knit. It's every 4th round, and it's just getting too fat already for me. I want it to be a little bit skinnier. So I think I'm going to try every 6th round. I haven't purchased the petite knit pattern, so I don't know what her rate of increase is, and it doesn't really matter as long as you know how to do garter stitch, increase on one side, and do an I-cord edging. You can make this. But I did use The Simple Thing by Melina Brell. It is a free pattern, so take what you will. But I will be, I saw other people on Ravelry using every 6 row for her rate of increase, and I liked how hers looked, so I will be trying that. But yeah, the yarn, I've used this before, so this is leftovers I had also from Anzula Luxury Fibers. It's my local yarn store. The colorway is Blush on their Crochet base, yes, which is a silk blend. I'm not sure if silk with what. I think silk wool, 50-50. Also, I just got an email today from Anzula that they are having a anniversary sale, 21 years. So they're having 21% off all their hand-dyed yarn, and they're a hand-dyed yarn business. So I assume that means everything. I didn't read the email, but I got excited because I was about to podcast. They are not a sponsor. They're just my local yarn store, and I went to support them. And I enjoy all the yarn I have. This one and this one that I'm wearing. And I have one other one I think I showed last time that I haven't worked up yet. Dropping stitches. I guess it doesn't matter. But let's put it back. Okay. Good. So those are all my whips so far, but I will tell you I have a couple projects planned that I want to go over, and also kind of flow into acquisitions. So I just had a birthday. I turned 26, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they gave me for my birthday yarn. They go to Tahoe every year for the beginning of July, and they have I guess there's a local yarn store there called Knits and Knots, and I'm reading my notes, sorry. And they bought me some mohair there. My husband did help them pick it out because I had been kind of talking about how I want to use some variegated mohair at some point. And so this is what they got me. It is Storyteller yarn, and she's a hand dyer, and she has her yarn in the Knits and Knots store, from what I understand. And this is actually Surrey. It's Surrey Silk Fluff. Let me show you the other skein as well. Isn't this so lovely? So Surrey Silk Fluff. It's a 74% baby Surrey alpaca, 26% silk. 321 yards. I don't know if that's backwards for you or not. So I have 2 of these, and what I plan to do, I'm super excited to do, is try a Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. And I just need another, I'm gonna get a mohair to go with it. So I already ordered from Knit Picks. I just ordered their mohair, I don't know what it's called, in colorway Oat. But I think it would go with all of these tanny colors in here, and then it would let the other colors, the pinks and blues and yellows, shine. There's some purple even. I love it, and I would love to have this also for when I go to Europe. I'm imagining it being cold. I don't think it's cold yet there, maybe in a few weeks, but I think that would just be so fun because it's really not cold enough here hardly ever to wear something like this. My hands are already sweating just holding this. But we'll see. I have not knit with Surrey yet, or mohair really. So, but that's exciting. My in-laws also got at the same time for me this Lana Gatto, also from the same place. Color is just a number 7263. It's a 75-25 blend with silk and, or mohair and silk. It's a nice bright blue. I don't know if it's, this is more accurate, I think, back here in this light. I don't have any plans for this, but it is fun. And then a couple more acquisitions that I got. Well, let me look at this one. This is more pink. This is some, where is this from? Oh my goodness. Knit Picks, I think? You'll have to tell me. It was on sale as upcycled alpaca blend worsted weight. And what color would you say? Also like a dusty rose pink, because that's my second favorite color as we've established. Color is fawn. So I have one other of these. Yes, I bought 20 balls. My goal is to make, I don't remember what it's called, but it's a blanket with a free chart by Well Love Knits, Bethany, on her website. I just love it. I love the color she chose, and I love, it's like a hexagonal pattern, and it's like half is on the right side and half is on the wrong side of the hexagon, and so either side is the right side of the blanket. So I really like that idea, and I want to get rid of this purple blanket that is, it's kind of gross. It melted a little bit in the dryer, so it kind of has hard parts in it. Synthetic blanket. I have more blankets. I just leave that one out. I don't know. I have nicer blankets. I did this, or I crocheted this for my great grandma a few years ago, and I got it back after she passed. So I have nice things I can put out. I just haven't. So that's on me. But eventually I want to knit a blanket. I've only crocheted blankets, so we'll see how that goes. It might take forever, but I was thinking I'd probably hold it double so it goes faster. And then lastly, I have an order from a Fiber for the People. Again, Taylor Earl from Wool Needles Hands. She's a hand dyer of yarn. I got two different things from her. First, I got her Water the Ficus. This is a 50% superwash merino, 50% cotton, and it's a DK weight that I got. And it is a little bit different than the one she showed on her podcast that inspired me to purchase it. That one was more of a moodier gray. This is kind of exactly what I already have. Not exactly, but I'll show you it compared to yeah, to that lichen. It's like very similar. I like what I like, and I bought it, and I'm imagining a t-shirt next summer. Not right now. I have plenty of this to do that. I have I think 5 balls, or skeins. I just brought 2 with me. And then last, also from Fiber for the People, I have the Verdigris mohair. 70% super kid mohair, 30% silk. On there, I think it's called Verdigris color. It's a misfit, so this is bluer than the colorway typically is. But this is what I was originally picturing as a variegated mohair with a solid either plain wool yarn or another mohair for a cumulus blouse. So I wasn't sure, but now I want to do this one first for sure. But this is also beautiful. Also those blues and purples that are my favorites. And I love Taylor's podcast. I love her dyeing. I love how she talks about her process. And she's been sharing recently her process and how she's been over dyeing her sweater and over dyeing yarn for someone else. So I just love it. But that's all I have. I did want to talk about my kind of knitting planning process, a la Knitty Natty style. So I have a few weeks left until I go to Europe, and so I wanted to make sure I could actually make everything that I wanted to make before I go. And so my knitting hopes were the cardigan, which I finished, the socks for my husband, which I finished, the socks for my friend Michaela, the purple ones, so I finished those 2. The 3x1 rib socks for Derek, which are half done. The essentially Sophie scarf, and then also that's my POP. And then I also went to make some more citrus coasters. I showed you those last time for people that host us or friends we see or people that we kind of know or see in Europe. We have a few people we know in a few different places, or at least my husband knows. So I did want to give them hosting gifts that are small enough to fit in a suitcase. So coasters work also. I did bring my yarn for that too. Just 24/7 cotton DK in the colorway Nightshade. Again, I think it's more accurate back here. And then some Kobu from Lime Brand in color Olive. They go nice together. I don't know if I'll give sets of just one color or a mismatch. I didn't really care that the yarn isn't the same content because they're coasters. So, but they do coordinate if I want to do that. So we'll see. This could also be plain knitting if I get down to it. But if you see my planning, I did it by week. And right now we're on this week. And I already finished the stuff I had thought I would start next week. And kind of, yeah, so I'm basically halfway through my second sock, which is supposed to be the first half and then the second half on this week. So I am almost done with this even from 2 weeks from now. And then I have to start finishing my cardigan. And I did start my softee scarf and I swatched for my baby blanket. So I am ahead of the game. I'm pretty proud of myself. And so we're on our way. But I found this very helpful to kind of have plans and a goal. And then I was trying to be not too ambitious, which is why maybe I'm a little bit ahead, because I didn't want to say I could do a lot and then have like a crazy week at work or something and then get behind and down on myself. I was just like, let's just leave that out of there. So it feels really good to be ahead versus behind. So if you're having lots of plans, I do recommend planning ahead. All right, and then as far as life updates, mainly it's those things. I've been working on lots of work. I started a new job about 6 weeks ago, so I've been getting in the swing of things with that, and I also been covering a different territory than usual, so it's a little bit more time in my day. I do drive, so a little bit more driving than usual. And in the heat, it's not always fun, but I actually like driving because it gives me time to listen to books or podcasts. I do listen sometimes to knitting podcasts, don't tell. I don't watch, but I do, especially like knitting chats. I like those where really no one's showing me anything. I don't feel like I'm missing out on those. Or I call my mom or friends who are in a different time zone from me that they are done with work already, or my grandma. So I don't mind the driving, and I do have to make calls for my job, so I also call during that time too for work, but they don't require you to multitask for work purposes. So I just do it safe, but it is entertaining. I have read on an audiobook. I use Libby from my library, so it's free audiobooks you check out from the library. And I just read The Forgotten God by Frances Chan. Highly recommend. It's a really good book about the Holy Spirit. And if you have any recommendations, all the things I've seen recommended on podcasts are like hold for weeks. So I've been trying to see if there's anything that is like available right now. But so far, when I scroll really quickly at the start of the day, I haven't seen anything that piqued my interest enough to start listening to it. I don't know if that's because I don't like how they like do book covers anymore. Like, I feel like the past like 10 or maybe longer, 15 years, like all the book covers kind of look the same, with like a girl looking over her shoulder or just like a bike in front of a house. I don't know, maybe I need to expand my palette and also not just go by the cover, but I feel like you do want to be intrigued by the cover, especially when I'm just browsing on the book app and I don't have recommendations. But I feel like it's just going to be like a young adult tween book if it's just like, you know, a girl on the cover. I don't know. So if you have any book recommendations, leave them down below. And yeah, I already kind of told you my life updates. I went on that weekend trip with my husband. I had my birthday. My family was here this weekend to celebrate. We went swimming in my in-laws pool, had barbecue. I have a new keyboard. I got off of Facebook Marketplace. That was nice. And just moving along. August is already happening right now as we speak. I can't believe it, which is a good thing because summer is hot and I like to knit warm weather things. So yeah, but thank you for joining me today, and give me a follow or a like or a subscribe or whatever you want to do, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.